Daphne. Good morning, everyone. I'm Valerie with KUAM, and this morning we're on the scene here at the Hagatna Boat Basin with Johnny Atulai Taitano. And this morning, there were some conservation officers, there were some officers from the Port Authority of Guam who have essentially told them to remove their net. Now, over the course of the last few weeks, there's been some contention between rod and reel fishermen and net fishermen, and the rules that are in place at the moment, essentially, Port Authority General Manager Joanne Brown has basically said that there is to be no net fishing other than Talladza fishing in the port. This was as of last week, about 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, Mr. Taitano had his net in the water. There were some complaints that he had left it in there for too long from some rod and reel fishermen on the other side. And we have the story now here from Mr. Taitano who would like to talk to us. And Mr. Taitano, can you tell us about what's going on here and essentially your thoughts on the matter?
It's the haves and the have-nots. That's what it basically is. As you can see, we were instructed by the Port Authority, and I just came from the government's house where I got no support from the government, the administration, present administration. They said leave it up to the senators. And of course, senators, they're sitting back and they're enjoying their amenities, and not one of them will come to my aid no matter what. So to me, it's a lost cause, and I'd like to say to Tunsus and to Juan and to Rosa, I'm sorry, but we won't be able to deliver your fish for you. It's not about money, believe me. I'm at the stage in life, it's not about money. The only thing we do is get a little on the side to maintain our gear, buy gas, buy a new tire for the trailer. But as you can see, the boys are picking it up and they're letting the fish go. You can see the dark spot. And for years, I've done this. I'm 72 years old. I've been doing it since I was 7. I learned from the best. Not from the boys in Hawaii, Chub, Philippines, or Palau. I learned this from my forefathers when I was 7, so I've been doing it for 65 years. And it's sad because the culmination of it all is that change to the reality of our modern day. It's not as if the port has its own priorities and has its own difficulties, but judging from the headship down there, the directorship, there's no feelings for the local people. Nothing, because this is interred in my bones. I don't do this, like I said, it's not about money. It's for something that I learned as principle. Like when I was a 19-year-old Navy corpsman fighting with the Marines in Vietnam, and the boys were dismembered and wounded and crying for their nanas and tatas and cursing God. And yet, they died for principle. And I got wounded myself. And I come home, I'm still a second-class citizen. I can't vote for a black man in the White House. I can't vote for a white man in the White House. I can't vote for nothing. And the thing of it is, this is our culture. We just had Festpac where everybody went out and decorated and danced and had a good time. But yet on the side, fishing is nothing. Let the locals die on the vine. And as Sus Tembet once told me, he said, Johnny, be ready for change. It's not going to be nice. You're not going to like it. But the change is coming.
Do you think we'll see you back out on the water?
I won't jeopardize my crew or let them go to jail as the port police are saying, you got 10 minutes to pick it up, and if you don't, you're going to be arrested. I've been arrested 38 times, always exonerated, and to me, if they say you're exonerated, that means you're not doing nothing wrong. And all the gear and the fish that have been confiscated over the years amounts to a lot of money if you put it in dollars and cents. To me, it's just a loss of your culture. Every time they did it, they took a hair off my head and another muscle off my back. Left me weaker. But hey, that's the changes of today. And it's sad because my daughter came from Arizona and she said, Dad, let's catch the Atulai. She knows this is my last time around. I'm not a healthy man anymore. My mind says, let's go. My body says, slow down, tiger.
Well, again, we're here with Mr. Johnny Atulai Taitano, and we've got his men pulling the net. He was advised, or they were advised, to pull the net by Port Authority officers. A few weeks ago, we had Joanne Brown, who had basically sent out a letter stating that there was to be no more net fishing in the water other than Talaza or rod and reel fishing over here at the Hagatna Boat Basin. And what she is claiming is that there is a 2013 memorandum of understanding that had been put in place, and at that time, while the MOU did exist, there is nothing that has been formally placed in the law, and that is where she is standing firm on and enforcing this at the moment. Again, Mr. Taitano had been up to the governor's office this morning, and they've told him, they have to go by what the jurisdiction is claiming, which is that there is to be no rod and reel fishing in the current law. So again, there was a memorandum of understanding in 2013 that said that they could come, and this is the memorandum of understanding that you have. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Taitano?
Yes,
Okay.
I even have a registered map with land management signed by all the authorities, but yet nobody wants to be amicable. Nobody wants to, say, okay, allow him a little time to do what he's got to do. This is only 2-3 days out of a whole year, 365 days. But they, it just shows that the culture's not in the administrative blood. I'm sad to say. And I know the governor and the lieutenant governor personally. I know Joanne personally. I think they're all okay, but they're just steered in the wrong direction, getting bad advice from their deputy directors or whoever's involved and stuff. But they got bigger problems than me, so I don't need to be a thorn in the side.
Okay. All right. So thank you again, and you'll catch the rest of the story tonight on Primetime. Thank you.